Welcome to Deep Thought. Avoid making assumptions. I'm gonna tell you what. Well, I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but I was apprised of a situation where someone was making bad assumptions about a young lady's boyfriend, and I actually know both of them. But they would tell me how third party was assuming this guy was this guy was that, and I was like, well, since knowing both of them, it was totally inaccurate. But I was like, well, what made this person just make some assumptions based on very little information, you know? But of course they were wrong. But see, the thing with it is sometimes people, when they try to judge others, they make assumptions without knowing anything about the person, or they assume a situation is like this. And there's myriad reasons why someone would do something like that. They think, well, okay, this person's this, and this, so they should act this, and this. And it's usually based on like stereotypes and prejudices and biases and everything. And usually don't have anything to do with the actual person, but what they perceive based on their own past. But whether it's dealing with another person or dealing with a situation, the reality is you don't know. You have to, as best as possible, look at any person, any situation, and don't make any assumptions. Even if you have a good idea about human nature, personality types, and things of that nature, still that person is still an individual, or that situation is unique. Nothing is totally alike. Now, you can have maybe a basis, but it's best to approach people and situations with as open a mind as possible. And yeah, that's tough. That's tough. That takes a lot of spiritual work to really have your mind free. Right? And you got to do it. You got to do it, whatever you can, try to, like, constantly. But see, the problem is, though, when you make assumptions, it can take you down a path. Now, I've talked before about false belief systems and people wearing a mask, but sometimes people put a mask on somebody else. Like, they'll see somebody and they'll make the assumption, but then they'll treat that person according to that. Right? Let me give a great example. You could see somebody dressed very plainly, right? They might have a t-shirt and jeans on and stuff, and you'll assume, oh, this is a broke person, or this person don't have any power, right? But then they'll see another person, and the person's dressed in real expensive clothes and everything, and might even be driving a late model car or something. They'll assume, oh yeah, that person's rich. That's a bad assumption. When I say t-shirt and jeans, that was a regular uniform for the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. I think that's his name. Anyway, right? The only time I seen him in a suit or a picture of him in a suit is when he had to appear before Congress. And one of the things, just not just with him, but many millionaires, indeed even billionaires, the overwhelming majority of them don't dress like it. Indeed, there was a book that came out years ago. It was called The Millionaire Next Door. There are a lot of people who are very wealthy. They are in the 1%. But if you were to see them, you wouldn't think they were. You might just think they just making extra money or something. And they live in ordinary homes. Some purposely live in very modest neighborhoods. I mean, you ain't gonna really get one live in a poor neighborhood, but you'll get them that live in modest neighborhoods. Just as long as it's safe. Indeed, I remember when I was visiting somebody with the family. All our kids were playing together, and the guy was telling me about the next door neighbor who's probably a low key millionaire, but he ain't really go anyplace. So you can't look at it, but if you look at the dude's home, you'd be like, I mean, it was a big home, but it didn't look like the one of a millionaire. But the dude said, nah, he's probably a millionaire because the dude knew a little bit more about him. See, you can't make an assumption based on the appearance. Now, like I said, you got billionaires who dress very plainly. Might drive ordinary cars, nondescript cars. But then somebody will assume, they might see that person, assume, oh, they don't have anything going on. It was like, you really don't know. And then you got another situation where you have people, they'll dress in expensive clothes, have great cars, and you think, oh, yeah, they balling out of control and everything. You still can't make that assumption because you don't know. Because there's a lot of people who fake. Yeah, they might be wearing an Armani suit, but you don't know where they got that suit. Because they could have got the suit on some extreme clearance or something, or, just a nice suit on an extreme clearance. Take it to a tailor or something just to take it in, and, it looks tight. They driving a car, it could be a rental car. It's not obvious when cars are rental cars like it used to be. Like used to be, you could look at a rental car and tell, but now, because I remember there was an event and I actually rented a car because it was a high class event, so I actually rented a Cadillac for it. But if somebody were to see me driving it, it didn't look like an obvious rental car. See, and even on social media, you get a lot of people, they pose with these fancy cars and stuff. But like I said, it's not obvious it's a rental car. They could have just went somewhere. They not even rent the car, but just stand in front of it. They could have did a test drive and just say, hey, let me take a picture in front. Something like that. See what I mean? You can't even make assumptions based on appearance. You have to know the situation. Now, why are assumptions really bad? Because you make an assumption and then you interacting with that person or that situation based on that assumption. It might be incorrect and it can actually hurt not that person, but you. What if this person, like, say, what if you need an economic opportunity, but you assume this person can't do it or don't have the money? You probably lost out on something. Or what if this is you looking for a mate and you assume, oh, this person likes this, like. Okay, like many men, when they deal with beautiful women, like naturally beautiful women, they assume that, oh yeah, this woman wants a guy who's a millionaire, rich, wouldn't give me any time, or assume that the woman will find them unattractive. Actually, you don't know that. A man wouldn't know what that woman wants until he actually has a conversation and she expressly lets him know what her views on him are. That's the only time you know. And it's the same thing with women. They'll meet guys and they'll feel like, oh, this is a player. Like I've had women do that with me. They made assumptions about it. I was like, no. And I just casually tell them no, no, and they might have lost out on something good. So avoid making assumptions. Now it's tough. Let me be real. It's not easy. It's hard to keep. It's something that you have to practice, keeping an open mind about every situation and just seeing what's actually there and not assuming and then trying to find out. It's tough, but it needs to be done because making assumptions, as they say, make an ass out of you and me. So anyway, that's all I got for now. Think on this. Peace and blessings.